right. Hello, Matt. I am Muhammad Amzali, and I'm from SecDim. And today we'll be just having a nice chat with you. Matt, care to introduce yourself to us?
I'm Matthew Lincoln. I go by the screen name M4773L, which is Matt L. Yeah, I'm currently unemployed. I've come over from a cabinet making background. I'm previously a tradesperson. I was involved in a bit of an accident over the holidays one year, and then that kind of ended my cabinet making career, and I was back at square one looking for a new career to pursue. I ended up at TAFE SA doing a Cert 4 in cybersecurity. For applying for jobs, I realised I hadn't really decided where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do within the cybersecurity field. So started off penetration testing, or playing Hack the Box a lot, and various other CTF sort of platforms before I discovered the little niche of application security.
So, Matt, thank you for sharing on that. So, you mentioned that you got into security because you had an interest in, and you did a couple of certifications on that. Other than that, was that all you did, or did you also go to some conferences? Like, how exactly did you get into AppSec outside than just dabbling around in certifications? Did you go to B-Sides or something, or go to CTF conference or something?
So I haven't been to any major conferences. The ASA, Australian Information Security Association, hosts Security Days here in Adelaide, which is a mini conference to effect. I took third place at Secure Code Warrior CTF that was hosted on the Adelaide AppSec ASA Sec Day. And just it opened my eyes. I'm like, I actually enjoy this. It's actually good, seeing, coming from a pen testing background and actually getting to see the other half of the vulnerability, the vulnerable code behind it. So that sort of it was like tweaked in my mind. I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I started seeing Sec games popping up on Sec Talk Slack channel, and I was like, this is interesting. So I started attending those online events. Not, I think the first one or two, I didn't actually participate, but then after that, I jumped in there, and I think it was the first or second one, I got the opportunity to present my solution at the next event, which was really good. Gave me a bit of confidence in what I was doing, and
Very nice. That's really nice to hear. Hearing you jumping around from Secure Code Warrior and AppSec Days, and even finding Sec games. That's really nice to hear. It really goes to show that having community in the AppSec sphere is really nice and all. Though, I'm curious though. Why exactly AppSec? Was it just a flight of fancy? You're like, oh wow, I'm enjoying this, or was there would you say there was a reason that sparked your interest in the field? Did you just fiddle around with it and came to the realization, or somebody recommended you to it?
So it was more fiddling around with it, came to the realization that this is something I actually want to do. I was previously trained to be a pen tester, just messing around with Hackbox, other various platforms. But it sort of tweaked, because I'd hack things, and I wouldn't actually take the time to look at the code, the vulnerable code behind the vulnerability, and what I was actually doing. I was like, if I just throw payloads at this login prompt, it's vulnerable to SQL injection, and then I'm through. But I never actually took the time to go out and have a look at the code, the source code behind the vulnerability before jumping into it. So just being able to see the other half, it clicked in my mind, and it's just like, this is actually really good. It's not overly difficult. It's not boring. I don't know. I'm not a GRC person. It's actually interesting. Things are. It's different.
Wow, that's. I really like how you put that over there, looking at the other side and thinking on things as well, and especially if it becomes really fun. That's where you start getting excited, So that you're like, yes, I'm gonna do more of these. So curious about that actually, since you mentioned that thing about looking onto the other things and not just well, aside from checking payloads in and seeing how things break, can you think you could describe your approach to learning AppSec? Let's say if there was a new vulnerability or something that just came out, any particular methods or practices that you found effective in your pursuit of learning AppSec or something?
All right, so if it's an interesting vulnerability, then I can access the source code through GitHub or GitLab or some other repository, then I can actually see what's happening. I jump straight to there, have a look, what's causing it, what's the root cause of the issue. Otherwise, if it's a simple sort of vulnerability, I jump onto OWASP or Sneak or somewhere and have a read through what's written about it, how it can be prevented.
Awesome. So you have a whole treasure trove of places you'd go and look this up first before you actually jump into it yourself.
I definitely do. I'd like to get a bit of background, but if the source code is available for a particular vulnerability that's just been published or something, I'll jump straight to there and just have a look, get a good feel for it. Because once you find it somewhere, it's bound to be somewhere else as well.
That's for sure. Right. On note of that, when you were starting out your AppSec journey, or even as a pen tester, what were some of the early challenges you faced, and how exactly did you overcome them? Was it like understanding how vulnerabilities are, or your knowledge of coding? What exactly did you face?
All right. So previously, my only real coding experience, back when I was cabinet making, was modifying G code, which just for our CNC router wasn't the software would put in a tool that we didn't actually need or something. We could do that manually. So yeah, it was just slight modifications to that. So very minimal. At TAFE, I covered Python, so that got me a little bit of coding experience. But then, yeah, when it comes to languages such as JavaScript and that, it took me a while to wrap my head around the client side, server side things. But it's all a learning process, and I'm getting there.
Well, of course, it's always a journey, right? You're never at the end of it. There's always a bigger fish, and there's no end of vulnerabilities coming in as code evolves anyway. All right. So while we're on the subject of that, since you're learning and improving all the time, can you share a significant milestone or achievement in your AppSec career that stands out for you? Like, what made that moment particularly special for you?
I got to say it was the CTF that was held by AppSec and SecDim, the conjunction there. That was great. I ended up coming in first place. Sure, I may have had the home ground advantage, being already playing a few SecDims, but yeah, I actually jumping into CTF with people that do this stuff for a living, that, secure coding, AppSec professionals. Yeah, coming out on top. I won a heap of cool prizes and swag from that. So it was actually, I can do this. Gave me that bit of confidence in that, hey, this isn't actually that. Yeah, and just the absolute AppSec community, they were very supportive in that. They really are. That was probably the peak moment so far. Yeah, in my journey.
That's good to hear. Hopefully there'll be definitely much more peaks. Curious though, since you mentioned that you're present with the absolute AppSec guys and during that whole sec game that we had with them, of course. In regards to that, did you essentially explore more? Did you go further with your community after the event ended?
Certainly did. Yeah. Dr. Peach Pedram of SecDim, he shot me a message saying, hey, they're asking about you over on their Slack channel, you should go join. So yeah, I jumped straight on, joined their Slack channel, and lots of praise and how'd you do it, and they wanted photos of my cat, and it was just a really good event, I don't know, starting at 7 in the morning is great, get out of bed, get ready, just straight into it, come out on top. It was just really good.
Nice.
The community over there is very supportive in that. much like the SecDim community on Discuss. Yeah, very supportive. Any questions, anything like that, nothing's considered silly, nothing's like that. It's just, yeah, if you need help, there's people there to ask.
Very nice. Going on a tangent a bit, tell us about your cat.
Oh, my beautiful big fluffy girl. I don't know. My loyal, loving companion. She, sits on my lap while I hack. And,
Nice.
yeah.
You have a name for her?
Tinky.
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 Wow, Tinky and the Tinkerer as he tinkers around with an app.
Sounds good, yeah.
Nice. It's always good, especially having a furry companion over there, keeping things nice and cozy with you as you do these things. Security is difficult, definitely. So, while on the subject of that, actually, since AppSec and by extension cybersecurity, it's always evolving, newer vulnerabilities coming in, newer frameworks, newer things to work with, new tools. How do you stay motivated with all this, and how do you keep up with the latest developments in AppSec and cybersec?
So I check the Slack channels most mornings, because if there's an absolute dumpster fire of a vulnerability that's popped up, then someone's going to post about it there. Otherwise, Hacker News is another good source I find. Also, bug reports, reading bug reports over on HackerOne. And also, it works well, gives you ideas on, what low-hanging fruit, other vulnerabilities are present.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really good. Hacker News and among other things, especially bug reports. Definitely, yeah, if there's a big fuss, everyone is going to be talking about it, and that's probably the best place to know is a Slack channel. I doubt the news media will catch up as quickly as the devs were making a fuss about it in the first place.
Quite true. There's some very knowledgeable people in most of the Slack channels, who, they've seen this stuff before. They have the ability just to assess and that, and it's good, just... Yeah.
Definitely. Well then, while we are on that subject, since you have been in contact with plenty of these veterans who can basically see stuff and know where it is and if they've seen it before, as someone who has, I would argue, has reached a peak for now and in their AppSec journey right now, their first peak, I would imagine, since you did well with Absolute AppSec, and I recall I recently even finished first in our holiday game as well. So, as I would say, a senior member of the AppSec community now, at least on SecDim, what would you advise to someone who is starting their journey in AppSec? Like, are there any specific resources, any strategies, anything you want to tell to just someone that's just starting out their AppSec journey?
Go ahead and research things before you do it. Some of my first patches that I pushed to SecDim, let's not really go there, but after a while I was like, hey, wait a second, there's a lot better way of patching this. Actually, research the vulnerability, see what you can do, what's not going to require 50 lines of code to fix. Just to get a secure patch, think about what you're doing. Like URL decoding a post request starter or something like that.
That's honestly really great advice. I would say researching and knowing what you're getting into rather than just hacking away, lest you start reminiscing on what diabolical experiments you had when you were first starting out. But hey, we live and learn, don't we? It's always nice to look back at it.
Do.
I'm sure you look back at it and go like, oh my god, I wrote that?
Yes, that has, several times, yes. Oh gosh.
Well, nice to see that everyone goes through this a bit over here. All right, Matt. Going on from over there, so could you share an experience or project that taught you a valuable lesson or change your perspective in regards to AppSec?
So probably with the launch of the battle challenges, the multiplayer challenges on the SecDim platform, over-engineering my patch, over-engineering it to to the point where it was still vulnerable, and the number one player of the SecDim comes along and just hacks me. I'm like, how? How did he hack me? And I sit there looking at this, huge patch I wrote, and I'm like, oh wow, realizing that I actually, So just that, really opened my eyes. It's like, hey, don't overcomplicate matters. Just look at what's happening, think about it properly, and then come up with an effective patch. So that was one of the moments where I thought, hey, you're getting carried away with your coding and that. You don't need all this extra 30 lines of code when it can be done in 5. So
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I think that's all. That's honestly a good way to think about things. Oftentimes, especially when you're thinking about security, you might be encouraged to think that, hey, if I make a complex solution or if I make a highly intense solution over here, that might make it a foolproof patch or something. But well, as you learn, I would say, would you agree that it's you rather should think about it from a sense that you do what you can in the most effective way possible, then you kind of field test it and see what exactly worked and what didn't. Would you think that? Would you think that's a better way of going about it?
Yeah, definitely. Much better.
All right, that's great. I mean, in the battle game, that's all about it, right? So thankfully, you got multiple attempts anyway. You pretty much push a patch through. You got 30 minutes or so to push it, or an hour or so. Once you're done with it, then if your patch is good enough, hopefully nobody hacks it. But if it does, now good. Now you got a moment to think about, okay, how could this go wrong, and try to look at that again. I think that's one interesting way about it. Anyhow, moving on from there, where do you see your path in AppSec for the next few years? Do you have any goals, any aspirations? Where do you want to go from here?
Get a job. Get a job is the first thing, and actually get some hands-on experience in an actual workplace, somewhere that does this stuff. Instead of just, look, I love tinkering around, playing SecDim especially, it teaches you all sorts of things. It's really good. But, gaining employment, that's probably my main goal. We'll get there.
Oh, definitely you will. No worries about it. I mean, you're already a pen tester, and you're getting a really good amount of knowledge in AppSec as well. I'm sure that fortunes will favor you once. You only need to get lucky once, right? You're gonna land that one place, one job, and before you know it, you already kickstarted a whole career out of it. So rest assured, Matt, best of luck with that anyhow. And I'm pretty sure in the next few years, you'll definitely be a senior security guy looking at it and like, this was pretty nice anyway. But well, so if I may ask, what are your thoughts about AppSec communities, essentially? How have AppSec communities or communities in general influenced your journey? What are your thoughts about community involvement as well? What do you think about it?
The AppSec communities I'm a member of, SecDim and Absolute AppSec Slack channel, very supportive, great bunch of people. There's no negativity, just no people jumping down your throat for asking a simple question and that. Nothing silly, that everyone's, from my experience, everyone's been very supportive. Just encouraging growth in the community. That's a big thing I've noticed all across the board between SecDim and Absolute AppSec. Mm-hmm. Getting people interested in thinking about security rather than just programming. So it's been really good. Just getting the support, getting no questions silly. Just to anyone watching this, or don't hesitate to ask questions. If you're stuck, if you're not sure, put up a post and just ask about it. Because there's plenty of people that are willing to answer.
Absolutely. Well said. That's always good. Yep. Having communities, and especially supportive ones for that. I always like to think of it in the sense like how the gym community can be for the most part. It's quite positive. You walk into it, even if you're starting out, there's tons of positivity involved over there for the most part. So I like to say that if AppSec or even cybersec for that matter, infosec, if it's like being a ninja, essentially you're at the start of your journey, then finding people with that positivity goes a long way for something that's really difficult.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of social media having people jump down your throat for something. It's just it's very good, very supportive, very professional. It's just really good.
Awesome. Oh, that's wonderful from here to hear from you, Matt. So before we wrap this up, I want to ask: do you have any final thoughts or insights you want to share with those following in your footsteps on AppSec?
Don't give up. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Look, if you need to get information from a wide range of resources, if you're really stuck, ask ChatGPT. Don't ask it to engineer you a patch, but ask it, hey, how can I perform a check for if a floating point number is going to overflow, if I'm going to be out of range, don't rely on ChatGPT, but ask questions if you have to. Number one, don't give up.
Well said. Definitely never give up, and you'll definitely find people who want to help you along the way. All right. With that said, I believe that should be everything. Thank you so much for your time, Matt. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again. You got another victory at number 1 position at the holiday game this time too. Mind you, I think you actually inched past Kabir as you did last time as well. So
very just by a smidgen. Very lucky there.
Oh, definitely. Well, we'll be seeing you more of you as well, and thank you for your kind words for the AppSec community as well.
Thank you, Hamza. Thanks to all the team at SecDim. I appreciate everything you guys do to foster growth and improve the community. Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.